This is absolutely Essendon. It's our round 20 game review. Yes, we are back. The Dons losing to the Saints in a most unholy performance, thanks to the guy that commented last week with that line, and they certainly delivered. You predicted it, and they delivered. The Bombers are in free fall, nothing less. Still in the 8, but probably won't be by the end of the weekend. Before there is just so much to go through today. I don't even know where to start. However, I do just want to make mention. Last week we didn't do a review. And I just want to apologise to the people. We did let everyone know in a community post about a couple of hours after the game that we just thought, nah, not doing it. Was it a dummy spit? Possibly. But to those people that didn't see that and were expecting a review, our apologies. But we are back this week, and maybe we spat the dummy 1 week too early. You know what I mean?
We spat the dummy right on time.
Did we?
Yeah. I mean, it was... we're back, but are we?
Well,
are we back?
Where is Essendon?
I don't think so.
That's the question.
Well, that's a very good...
Where are they? Because last week we did run a poll after that game, and we shared Brad Scott's comment in the presser where he said that we are an infinitely better club than we were last year. Of that, I'm confident.
You keep telling yourself that, darling.
We ran a poll. We had over 300 votes, and interestingly,
was it over 300
last week? Yes, last week. That's 38% of people still
more disposals than we get in the game. We get votes. That's it. Fantastic.
You know what was interesting actually? Our post.
Can't wait to hear.
Our post last week saying that we weren't going to do a review got more likes than our reviews. Yeah. So
were they saying thank God for that?
I think the path forward is just don't do any more.
How did our
reviews.
Subscriptions go? Did they skyrocket?
Skyrocketed.
Tell you what, keep them wanting. That's the deal. No, I think there's a message there, which is a bit like the voice in the Amityville Horror, which we often refer to.
You're right.
Get out.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, in terms of that poll, the fact was last week I was interested that 38% of people agreed with Brad Scott, and I thought, are they the true believers?
He has a very large extended family.
Do you think that's what it was? Mm-hmm. I'd love to know what the poll results would be this week, whether they'd be the same or different.
Well, we have a new poll up on our X/Twitter account today, which is asking the question on where are we going wrong as a football club? And you have a few options there, things such as coaching, recruitment, development, on and on. So I think right now recruitment is heading the charge there. I think most people...
I think it was player development.
No, I think you're wrong.
Oh, you might want to check it. Anyway.
I think you're wrong. Anyway, get on to Twitter if you are. Yes. There's a lot, because we are becoming a little erratic with the posting of videos. So Twitter is a constant because it takes no effort, unlike this. So please jump on Twitter, vote, and we're going to post the results to David Barham, who probably needs a little bit of a wake-up call, but we'll come to that.
We will come to that, because last week, even though we didn't do a review, you were feeling so wound up. Well, you needed a stint in AFL club supporter rehab for a few days. You were in the fetal position, but before you did that, you did write a lengthy letter to the club.
I did,
which perhaps you could read for us before the end of this episode.
Well, I probably won't read because I don't have it with me. But I can certainly convey the gist. Where does that word come from? The gist. The gist. I can convey the gist of my letter to the football club, and as you know, being an influential content creator, they take it very seriously, and I got a response.
Yeah, okay, all right, okay.
Yeah, well, dear DT, unfortunately, we can't refund your membership. Right. Please read the fine print.
Right.
And we didn't want that result either.
Is that what they said?
That's what they said.
Right.
So no need to go into the detail, but we didn't want that result either. Well, I wonder what they would say after the performance against St Kilda if they didn't want that result from the Adelaide game, which was atrocious. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
When it comes to our top 20 horror show car crash matches, that Adelaide game was right up there. But it just got bumped out of the top 20 by what happened against St Kilda, I think.
Well, it did.
Arguably.
So let's touch on the game last night.
No one wanted that result.
No. Did they say things like, we love your passion, condescending, stuff like that?
No, they didn't say that.
No?
They don't. They
did that last night.
They love the smell of my plastic.
Right. Yeah.
As Essendon Football Club has through the ages, it loves nothing more than the blind loyalty of stupid fans that keep pumping money through that club, which allows them, of course, to open up their own private beer brewing businesses on the side, or get into property development, or whatever else those stupid executives are doing down there.
Right.
On the back of our faith and our loyalty. I mean, we are stupid, and there is going to be a people's revolution soon.
Right.
Which I think is timely, given the Olympic Games opening in Paris, and it's all about talk of
French Revolution. Yes,
I think the Bastille Day for the Essendon Football Club is coming, and it's coming fast.
All right. Well,
to quote the great Sylvester Stallone.
Oh God. Okay, I've got some ideas on that front, but again, we will.
Do I digress?
We will. You're digressing.
Can we talk a bit about the Olympic opening ceremony?
No,
if we're talking
now.
about car crashes,
no, don't. They
right.
don't like.
We'll
it
come back to that
when we digress.
Well, I think they'll like this one
too early. Yeah. Anyway,
anything but the Essendon Football Club, guys. Just please. How's the Gaelic football going? They ask.
The game last night.
Do you want to talk about the game last night?
I know you don't, but I just have one question around
I'm going to keep knocking you off the track here.
Yeah, I know. I can see that. I'm trying to keep this train on track. But the lead up to last night's game, just first, because of course it was quite the loss last week when we really had a chance to ice the game. You had Draper missing from 12 metres out, which in a way you could say is quite poetic, given that the egg that he hatched when we first met earlier this year. But maybe
when we first met Adelaide.
Yes, when we first met Adelaide. But maybe there's nothing poetic about it. It's just someone who unfortunately doesn't have great kicking skills. But we had a chance to ice the game. We didn't. The media during the week and all the talk was of a gory review, and the players were going to respond.
Can I just jump in on that point, because this is maybe something that we can talk about when you eventually get to the Saints game. I can see you're still going on about Adelaide. But, apparently there was a pretty heated post-game review over at the Hangar.
Right.
And the word on the street from pretty reliable sources is that the players didn't like being told off after the game. They were not happy with the coaches reprimanding them for their lack of effort against Adelaide. And I think there was a few players in that squad. Now, this is, to be fair, this is rumoured.
Right. Okay. All right.
But coming from a source that's pretty reliable.
Right.
And the players didn't like it.
Didn't care for...
Didn't care for it. My friend, I was just about to say your name then.
Right.
And they are smoking, of course. I forgot it for a moment. They didn't like the fact that the coaching panel had the audacity to pull them up on their performance. How dare they?
Right.
How dare they?
Interesting. So they're not doing well, and they're sensitive about it as well. Well, that's not good. So we were expecting a response of sorts. So my question to you is, how early into the game last night did you feel like this ain't looking good either?
I'll tell you honestly, because as you know, I did watch a little bit of the game before turning it off. I swore I wouldn't watch it, but I couldn't help myself. Didn't go to the game, which is a rarity for me. If you know me, I'm pretty reliable in terms of turning up.
Sure.
Unlike the football
I
team.
thought that was you throwing your scarf over the boundary line.
I tossed it from my house.
Right.
I wonder it sailed all the way over to Marvel. Was it at Marvel?
Yes, it was.
Now, so you asked the question.
Yeah, first quarter.
When did I realise that this was going to be another shit show?
Yes.
Well, it actually was in the hands of our great captain, Zach Merritt, when he marked it in the defensive half, a little bit outside of their forward 50.
Oh, yeah.
And he looked left, looked right. He had a guy on the mark and another St Kilda player just off to the side. And he looked like he was going to do an underground handball, to somebody. I have no idea.
Yeah.
And he handballed it straight to the opposition. And I just looked at that my remote control looked for the off button and went, thank you, I have had enough.
Right.
When your captain is doing that, that's it. I mean, not to blame Zach Merritt for anything, because let's be honest, he shines like a stream of bat's piss when all around is dark.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, he does.
And I tell you what, Zach, here's my advice to you, mate. Put in a trade request, because you deserve a lot better than this football club. You're a great player. You're a champion player. You're never going to see success at Essendon, unfortunately, and unfortunately for all of us. But I think Zach Merritt, when he's starting to do stupid things like that, time's up.
Well, he went on to kick potentially the goal of the year by accident.
Yeah,
probably,
of course.
But because that's the way
we can't do anything by design.
No,
right?
no. Which I want to get onto.
Hey, by the way, sorry to interrupt. Listen, if you're one of the happy clappers out there and you're not happy with hearing some negativity, I'd be tuning out right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This isn't going to get any better.
I'm telling you, if you believe that that we should be singing the praises of this football club, this is not the show for you. Okay. The Essendon marketing department will give you plenty of that fluff. All right. So just letting you know, if you don't like it, go away now. Okay, don't write a comment saying, "Oh, you guys are always negative."
Yeah.
If you cannot see the flaws and faults with this football club and you're not prepared to state it, that's half the problem, to be honest. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. Well, flaws and faults. I do want to say this about the game. Now, this is a St Kilda side that has struggled this year. Yes, their football has improved over the last few weeks. However, they've had trouble scoring throughout the year. And, anyway, we just... It was incredible to watch, again, the transitions from defence to the forward line. Whenever they had the ball, it looked like the biggest ground in the world. Whenever Essendon got their hands on the ball, it was just every kick under pressure. Whether it was from the last line, wherever it was, we just struggled to get our hands on the ball. And what just really bothers me, and there's a lot that bothers me, but after last week where we watched Adelaide transition the ball from defence, and one of them even became a meme, right? I think we all know the goal where they took the kick in, Adelaide took the kick in, and they got the ball, scored, I think within 14.73 seconds. There was the Fogarty goal, and that's become a meme. And that wasn't just a one-off. That wasn't just like a freak of nature. They were just waltzing the ball out. And so, again, that was happening last night. Yet again, all the time in the world. We're not talking about one of the top 4 teams. This is the Saints, 15th on the ladder, and that was happening again. And so my question is, I know you want to talk about everything, but at trainee, when you were doing the gory review, surely one of the things that you would have looked at was, hey, what can we do to stop this happening? What's one thing that we can do this week to make sure that these transitions? Are you hearing me?
Sure.
What are you doing at training? Like what's being discussed? Are they like? There was no sign of any effort or focus on that factor of the game that destroyed us last week. That's what I want to know. Now, you know what? I'll leave it at that for the moment, but I'll be back with more.
Okay. So, 2 seasons ago, Collingwood, MCG, I think we're up by 23 points 10 minutes into the last quarter. They kicked a couple of goals, got it back reasonably close. Then Harrison Jones had a shot for goal from about 35 metres out directly in front.
Yes, remember it.
Kicks to the behind, a la Kyle Langford.
Yep.
And the Collingwood team, seeing that Essendon was half asleep as they were on that day, banged the ball in from the kick-in, and it went flying down the field to land in Jamie Elliott's arms, 50 metres out on the boundary line, who proceeded to slot it through, and we lost the game by a point or whatever it was. That was under the Rutten regime, the great truck.
Yes.
Well, I tell you what, Brad Scott, he's starting to get under my skin a little bit. I actually think Brad Scott is the Nick Cage character in Face Off. And in a press conference coming up, he's going to peel off the Brad Scott face, and Ben Rutten's going to be underneath there, because right now that team is being coached about as well as Truck coached it. The thing that Scott's got going for him is he's somewhat more articulate, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Because I've got to be honest with you, if there is a game plan, I am lost in trying to work out what it is, because there is no connection between the 3 points of the football field, the defensive 50, the midfield and the forward 50. There is no connection at all, both going forwards and in defence.
Yeah.
This football team, the defence presses up so high on the field that for you talk about why is it the opposition has an open field, because we create that space for them.
Right.
Our defensive pressure is a case of pushing up high. So you might have one guy sort of sitting back behind the square, but the rest of the team is up in the inside the 50 the midfield 50 square. There's no structure. I keep hearing this term structure.
Yeah.
We have no forward line structure. It is kick and hope. It has been for a long time. We have the wrong types of players playing in the forward line. We have, no small forward defensive pressure whatsoever, and our talls cannot apply defensive pressure. Peter Wright is the least defensive footballer ever. And our defence is abysmal at the moment. The much vaunted Essendon defence, basically Laverde, I'm afraid, is B grade at best. He tries, I'll give him that.
Yes.
Mackay is a shadow of the player he was earlier in the season, but probably playing up to the sort of form we knew of him at North. Ridley is hot and cold and now injured. McGrath is a turnover king. You could go on. Redmond is one quarter the player he was when he signed his long-term contract, and right now I've seen his name bandied around as trade bait.
Right.
I mean, what the hell is going on? If you really got down to it, in all honesty, I can probably point to 4 players that I think have had a good season or improved. Now, I'm not counting Zach Merritt because he's just consistently great.
Yeah.
But he's had some moments, as we mentioned.
Yeah.
I can think of 4 players in that side who deserve the paycheck, and they're pretty easy. And you may or may not agree, but certainly Durham and Caldwell.
Yes, agreed.
Have had breakout seasons.
Yep.
And I think as much as he's going to get lambasted by the supporters, I think Nick Cox is slowly starting to show something.
No.
I think.
Okay, but I'll let you continue.
I think he is. I think he's got to be persisted with. And I think Harrison Jones is starting to show something. Both those guys are coming off many years of multiple injuries. They're tall kids. They're going to take time to develop anyway, but with all the injuries they've had, no wonder it's difficult. And they're still being tried in different roles. Now Jones is playing as a sort of tall wingman. I think he's doing all right. So let's just cut them some slack. But if you were to go through the rest of the team, the guys that we were lauding, like Langford and Ridley, we used to use the monikers King Jordan of Ridley.
Those were the days.
And Kyle of Langfordia. They're back to their old way. Well, not so much Ridley, but Langford's back to sort of pre-23 Langford.
He's just got a bit of the yips. I'm gonna keep the faith there. I'm gonna keep the faith.
He was aiming. He had a shot on goal in the game against St Kilda, straight out. Dead in front, 30, 40 metres out.
Yeah.
Miskicked it. They went down and scored a goal.
Yeah.
How many times has that happened with Kyle Langford this year?
Yeah.
Where we can just take the next step and maybe push the lead out to 3 goals, 4 goals, or actually win games in the case of the draw against Collingwood, and Langford's let us down. I know you can miss goals. It's not simple. There's a lot of pressure, but it's consistently a problem now. So what the hell is going on? I mean,
whatever process he's had has fallen away. But can we just come back though to because the comment that Brad Scott made last week was it's not structural, the issue, it's execution, and I don't know if I'm buying that.
Oh, you're just a resultist.
Yes, and
You're a resultist.
and I don't like the way he gets salty in the press conferences. I don't know if you watched the one last night. You probably didn't. Couldn't wait to get out of there. Sorry, these are the times where you sit there and answer every single friggin' question that whatever journalist that bothers to show up.
Any ownership of his role in this?
No,
of course not.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised he's salty. I'd be trying to deflect as well because that was an appalling coaching performance. It has been all year, to be honest.
How can you just say that it's just the players not doing the number of time Essendon were kicking it, kicking in their back half, and even when Langford moved back, there was an instance there. Well, one of many. Mackay the same, looking left, right for options. None forthcoming.
Is this why there's a bit
kick.
of a player revolution? Like we were saying earlier, that the players are not happy. Is it because Brad is not taking any ownership of this, or is he throwing the players under the bus?
Possibly. They wouldn't. They wouldn't be happy with it. But do you remember last year? If I just made rewind, round 5 last year, Nick Martin was on fire. Probably got about 40 possessions. Essendon, again, it was the first half, doing well. And, we got excited. I certainly got excited because he made the comment in a post-game interview, much simpler game plan. And so we all thought, hallelujah, because under the truck regime, they really didn't seem to know what they should be doing. So that message had come out along the way, but I don't know where we sit now. I don't know what's going on.
Well, Brad Scott has not got a stellar coaching record, let's be honest. And I'm not saying Brad Scott should be given his marching orders. He's going to get another year, of course he is, and rightfully so. Yeah. But I tell you, he will only get one more year. If this continues, he will not be coaching beyond 25 and will probably never coach another football team, certainly at the AFL level. He's got to change, and I think, to be honest with you, whatever he's coaching, whatever the whole coaching team is doing is not working, but you never see any response. He's got to perhaps move down onto the bench rather than sitting up in the box. I don't know.
Well, just mix it up.
Try something.
Yeah.
And I think it starts with stop being stubborn, Bradley. And that is... is he making the selection choices? I wonder whether my best mate Dodoro is somewhere in the background making selection choices, because the team selection for the last few weeks has been bewildering. Playing 6 players of 200 centimetres in the wet against Melbourne, playing these guys that are just, like Wright and Heppel, okay? They were dropped after the loss against Melbourne in the wet. Of course, Wright was never going to be effective in the wet. But then they were dropped. Now, there's an argument that they should have kept Wright in the team for the following week, which was Adelaide under the roof at Marvel. But no, he was dropped. And then the remarkable headline on the Essendon webpage after Heppel and Wright were selected for the St Kilda game was duo earn recall. Well, no, they didn't earn it. They were dropped for a week when the VFL team had a bye. So they didn't actually earn anything. They just turned up to training that week. And because we had an embarrassing loss against Adelaide, the coaches panic and, they bring these guys straight back into the team. They have earned nothing. Right, and here's the thing. Throughout the week, we knew this was coming because Brad Scott, there was a story in the paper about how, he had to, the hardest thing he's done in football was have to tell Dyson Heppel that he was not playing that week. A 32-year-old veteran who's had a pretty good run of it. I mean, come on, that's not heartbreak stuff. That's Dyson, you passed it, mate, we're going to have to rest you this week. No big deal. But then for an article to be leaked out to the newspapers about how Heppel took it like a man and was a warrior, and his first comment was, leave it with me, boss, I'm going to make sure that I'm around to motivate the boys. Well, gee, didn't that work well? And so this is the problem. Brad Scott he's wedded to veterans. He loves his veterans. And we've debuted one player this year. One player. And we have a bunch of kids running around the VFL who are rapidly fading into mediocrity to be forgotten before too long. Guys like Archie Roberts, Lewis Hayes, the Davey boys, Sartis, Hobbs, all highly regarded players that just cannot get a look in. The reigning premiers have debuted 7 players this year. Okay? What is wrong with this football club? You know, why are we investing games into Heppel, into Goldstein, into Dylan Shield, who we tried to offload last year, to St Kilda, who would have gone had he not injured himself playing with his daughter? I mean, that's how tough our guys are. You know, this is embarrassing now. You know, where's the ruthlessness in this football club? Where are the hard calls? Who's going to make the decisions to actually tap these guys on the shoulders and say, guys, you're done. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
You know, I'm waiting for the Jake Stringer announcement. The Jake Stringer announcement being the package signs on for 2 more years. If Jake Stringer gets another game at this football club, that just confirms they're taking the piss. It honestly does.
Right. Okay.
I haven't even started yet.
No. I know. So I don't know where we go from here, but again,
to Tasmania.
Last week we made Ben Keys look like an absolute champion. This week, Cooper Sharman.
Who?
Looking like a footy god.
Who?
And at one stage, he'd taken more marks, I think, in the third quarter than our whole side.
Are you making that up?
No, he's a real player. He exists.
Isn't a shaman like an ancient sort of like druid?
Yes, druid.
Cooper Sharman.
Druid. No, are you thinking? I'm thinking Amazon shaman. But anyway.
So what did he do?
Well, I think he was just taking marks here, there, and everywhere. He was kicking goals. He was just on fire.
He gets the Mark McGough medal.
Yes.
The Mark McGough medal. As you may remember, Mark McGough played one good game of football in his entire career. That was against us on a wet Anzac Day back in the early 2000s. I think.
Yes, I know.
Right?
Yeah. Hanging on to that guy.
Yes. Mark McGough. Yeah. And that's it. Essendon, every week there's some unknown hack becomes the next Gary Ablett Jr. playing against us. And then we never hear from him again.
So we were pumping that ball into the forward 50 again last night, pumping it in there.
Oh, we do more pumping than a Sylvester Stallone porn video. I'm not going to let that go, by the way. I only just found out the other day that he was a porn star. But
you only found out the other day?
I did.
Yeah.
I thought he came from a Shakespearean background, but clearly not.
That's how he survived. And do you know he had to sell his dog to...
Well, at least he didn't eat it.
Just to pay the bill so he could pump out that Rocky script. And then...
he's buying a dog.
Yes.
Was it a special breed?
But it was on the proviso that he could buy the dog back.
I had a buyback clause.
He did. He put that in the contract. Good on him. Anyway, he got the dog back. Anyway...
All right. I'm just curious. It's a fascinating story. It's a little more interesting than the football.
Well, you know...
If anyone else has got some Sylvester Stallone stories they want to share, please. We love Sylvester Stallone.
We do. And the boys could use a bit of Sylvester Stallone.
A bit of him in the corner.
Yeah, big time.
Apollo Creed.
Yes. So where are Essendon?
Oh, well, let's can we move on to part 2 of the video?
Because we can, because I had a weird dream last night.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
A very weird dream.
Here we go. I've heard about your dreams.
I know. And generally, I get it.
Can we tell them is this safe for...
whenever anyone says I had a weird dream, that's like the most boring thing in the world you could say, right? Like I switch off. You've probably already switched off.
Get me a handgun.
Dave Barham came here.
You had a dream about David Barham?
Yes. He came to our studio.
Oh, here?
Yes. He was sitting just over there.
He got tickets, did he?
Yes. And he had that wispy hair sort of going on.
The comb over.
Yeah. He had a bit of that going on.
Don't be baldest.
And he wanted to buy the channel.
He wanted to buy absolutely Essendon?
Yes, because he wanted to shut it down.
He couldn't get everything Essendon?
There's no way Felix is selling it. No way.
Felix's channel might be valued a little more than ours. But anyway, go on. I sorry to interrupt.
So he wanted to buy the channel because he wanted to shut it down.
Because he's an astute investor, right?
Well, I think so. Yes. Well, it was either that, and I think that is just symptomatic of the way Essendon throws money around.
Yes.
You know what I mean? At the management level.
Oh, in our case, it's reasonable spend.
Cannot accept any criticism. So let's shut that. He
wanted to buy it to shut us down.
Yes. That's what I just said.
Dog.
It was like my brain.
How much did he offer?
Okay, it's a dream. Okay, it's a dream. So don't lie. But just over $3 million.
Oh.
Yeah.
And what happened?
You said no.
Oh.
you walked away from the table.
I'm a principled man.
Exactly.
I cannot be bought.
You wanted to maintain the rage, and you wanted to maintain the voice, because this is not about money. This channel's never been about money. So this is about agitating.
What were you doing
for the love of God
in the dream? Just out of interest?
I said, Dave, just let me go talk to DT. I'll be back in a second. Don't go anywhere. That's what I was doing.
How did you go?
And he was just
Did you punch him in the face for me?
He was so... Well, because he hung around for a couple of hours, right? I was trying to talk sense into you, and he was like, I'm just very disappointed. My offer's been rejected.
Wow. That is a dream and a half.
Anyway.
Any chance you could have a dream about us winning a premiership? Please?
No, there's none of that going on.
Mind you, I don't think either option will come true.
Yes.
So that's interesting. So with Dave Barham, I mean, look, bless him. Look, you should never pick on someone for their hair, but even if you are thinning a little, no one cares. I mean, that's fine. That's a good look. You know, shave it back, you look amazing. Look like,
Jason Statham.
Exactly.
Yes.
I thank you for that. I was trying to think of somebody.
I knew you were struggling. That's all right.
I was thinking Gianluca Vialli.
He's no longer with us.
Oh, but sorry, but had an amazing head.
He did.
Now, is he no longer with us?
Yeah.
Gianluca Vialli. May he rest in peace. What a man. What a champion.
Zinedine Zidane. Let's go back to the opening ceremony.
But it took Zidane a little while to shave it back.
Yeah, all right. Okay, please. Let's get back on to
I think Barham,
the administrators.
You represent the football club, mate, and you're walking around. It looks like a field of tulips.
Oh, no.
Flowing in
get off the head.
But anyway, he just looks like a hobo. And I mean, I'm sorry, but he's on pretty decent coin. He's made a bit of money. And look like you care. You wouldn't see Eddie Maguire walking around looking like that, by the way.
Right.
Now, David Barham, I think David Barham stormed into notoriety about 2 years ago at the end of the 22 season with the audacious play for Alistair Clarkson's signature. Went sniffing around with Clarko to see whether he'd be interested in coaching the Essendon Football Club. Very well publicised, of course.
Yes, it was.
And we still had a coach by the name of Benjamin Truck. And the Truck was forced to sit back in the background and swallow his pride while Essendon was out openly courting another man. And, of course, Clarkson snubbed us. Truck got the sack.
Yep.
And the whole place fell apart under the brutal regime that was David Barham. You might remember Xavier Campbell resigned.
Just after signing a 2-year contract, so had to be paid
after
out.
signing his own contract. And the other guy that was the chairman, what was his name? Brasher. He sort of was swept out the door. And then we approached this gentleman, Andrew Thornburn, who was a hardcore right-wing fundamentalist Christian who has a problem with gay people. He was the CEO for a day. It's like one of those shows, a reality program, be CEO for the day, where we actually lived that. And he lasted 24 hours before he was booted out the door, and we had the Archbishop of Melbourne saying that he was never going to support the Essendon Football Club. So, of course, we had God against us after that. And on it goes. And eventually we settled on the coaching appointment of Brad Scott, but not everybody, because Kevin Sheedy came out publicly in the media saying, I didn't vote for him. And Sheedy, of course, wanted his boy Hurd back in the side. I mean, you can't write this shit. This football club finds ways of embarrassing itself. And, it's just the ridiculous nature of the boys' club that it is. And they've got to go. To a man, they have to now do the right thing by the football club, hand in their card and walk out the door. Because I'm telling you right now, there is no one in that organisation fit to run it. Craig Votso, who's the CEO of the football club, coming across from the West Coast Eagles, where he was like junior recruitment manager or general manager of football operations.
Officer.
Has anyone actually... I need to see a photo of this guy holding up the newspaper.
You want proof of life.
Absolutely want proof of life. Because, okay, maybe he said, hey, look, my style is not to be like Alistair. What's his name? Not Alistair. Xavier Campbell.
Yeah.
And, I'm going to sit in the background a little. I'm going to do my brewing business a little more discreetly.
Right, yes.
Now,
arm's length.
Craig Votso, you need to come out and speak to the members, if there's any left, and start to explain why this football club continues Despite all of the changes, despite all of the new coaching appointments, despite multiple new fitness staff and backroom staff, despite all of the top 10 draft picks, despite all the trades, despite everything, we are still a fucking basket case. That needs explanation because, you know, I always tell you, Joe, about the clock, the broken clock, that even a broken clock can be right twice a day. We can't even be good by accident. The more we try, the worse we get.
It's like we self-sabotage.
Exactly.
Because we're all taking players from the same pool. So eventually you need to have some sort of success. So it's like whatever we're doing, whatever levers we're pulling, we're getting worse.
Yeah, you know I'm not a fan of Dodoro. I think anyone in a job for more than 20 years should go, right? But, you know, when your KPI is actual win-loss ratio, success, and you've had none for that time that he's been the recruitment manager, he should just go. I mean, he should just do the right thing. But then Barham comes out in the media a couple of weeks ago, I think it was on 3AW, and they asked about Adrian Dodoro, and he said, well, look, Adrian's not going anywhere. And I mean, when he chooses to go, that's up to him. That's up to him. Now, remember that. That's not up to him. That is up to us because it is us, the members, who put the money in the pockets of these guys, and Adrian Dodoro must go. Rightly or wrongly, if you're a fan or otherwise, he's had his time. They've hired a guy called Matt Rosa. Let him do his job. Now, Adrian Dodoro will probably oversee the draft at the end of this season. We're probably going to have another high draft pick the way we're going. It's insanity. Have a look at our last 6 first-round draft picks. Let's go back let's go back to the year that Darcy Parish was drafted. You had the other guy, what was his name? Aaron Francis. Pick number 4 or 5. Complete disaster. Then you pick McGrath, number 1 draft pick, McGrath, turnover king Andy McGrath. And, and meanwhile, you've got the guy that we didn't pick, Hugh McCluggage is an All-Australian, probably going to be playing in the finals this year. And then you go to the 2 wasted draft picks, first-round draft picks to get Dylan Shiel. He wasn't even in the top 6 midfielders at GWS. And we gave up 2 first-round draft picks, but we wouldn't give D'Ambrosio a second year on his contract.
No chance, no.
And what about, let's go to the 2020 draft, which we know is a compromised draft because of the COVID year. But we had 3 top 10 picks. They are all looking like busts, more or less. My man Cox, he might be the one that makes it out of that alumni.
Yeah.
Then you go to Hobbs. He can't even get into the team. Wilting away in the reserves.
Yeah. Should be the sub. Come on.
Sardis, number 5 draft pick.
Oh, yeah.
2 years into his career, he's played about 7 or 8 games. Can't kick to save himself. And it looks like a real struggle for him. I'm hoping he will come good. And then we've got Nate Caddy, who at least is showing something.
Yeah.
And Caddy hopefully will be a win. But our record of high-level draft picks is just deplorable. It's deplorable. Now, there's no science, and every other club botches it as well. But do they botch it as badly as we do? So, recruiting.
Yes.
Sorry,
Okay,
I'm not letting you speak. I apologise.
No, that's quite all right. And I think you'll find in the poll that we are conducting on the Twitters, I still call it that because everyone always has to make that correction. So, you know, that's what it's called.
It's called X, isn't it?
The player, yeah, but what a waste of time. Player development, I think, will trump recruiting on that poll. But keep an eye out. So what you're saying is that you can't blame Dodoro. So in 20 years, the club that produced champions like Mercury, Hurd, Fletcher, Masiti, Caracella, and on and on and on, suddenly forgot how to develop players? What? Yeah, that doesn't look so good, does it?
No, I mean, why? Okay, so maybe we've had some pretty average development coaches or whatever they're called. You know, this is 20 years we're talking about.
I think it's a series of unfortunate events. It's going out to the hangar. Hey, it's maybe taking those home games at Marvel. I think it's a combination of just bad choices culminating, in where we are today.
Look, the best player we've probably had, the best player we've recruited in the last 15 years, and this will probably divide the audience because they hate him, is Joe Danaher. And he wasn't actually recruited. He was a father and son selection, so it didn't take any brain cells to find him. Rightly or wrongly, we ruined his career. The word is. Now, I think Danaher has to share some of the blame. But, that year, do you remember we lost Danaher, Sard wanted out?
Yep.
And Fantasia.
Lazio, yep.
Fantasia wanted out. So Fantasia, he's played a couple of good games at Carlton. He did not much at Port Adelaide, no big loss. But Sard's an All-Australian. Danaher was almost Norm Smith medalist in the grand final last year.
Yep.
Exactly the player we need in our team right now. In fact, both of those guys would be just so welcomed in our side. What happened? But I'll give some credit to our recruiters. They found Martin, and Martin's a better than average player. He's not a superstar, but he's better than average. Durham, a midfield selection, a mid-season draft.
Yeah.
I think is going to be a great player for us.
Yeah.
So there has been some wins. I think a couple of the second round selections that we've had in recent years, like Ridley, even Merritt was a second round selection, give some credit there. But our wasting of first round draft picks has been an absolute unmitigated disaster.
So in the last 18 hours, there's been a groundswell of support for the idea that Essendon fans should vote with their feet, not be renewing their membership, because by renewing our memberships, we are enabling the team to continue in this mediocrity, like enabling a drug addict, with their next hit. That's what's happening. Where do you sit with that? And then I have another question to ask you after that.
Sure, please go ahead.
No, well,
when you're here,
you talk about the management of the club. If I could rustle up a little support, could I get you interested in making a run to march into that boardroom? Could you ever be interested in that? You've got the corporate background, you've got the passion for the club. Any interest? I'm being serious.
Oh, really?
I know we didn't discuss this, but I'm being.
I look. It wouldn't be hard to do.
It couldn't be any worse.
It wouldn't.
Right?
Yeah, I was going to say it wouldn't be hard to do a better job. But my history in the corporate world has been one of spectacular success.
You've always been an agitator, and I think that's what we need.
It's called ruthlessness, and
mongrel.
I'm not going to suffer fools.
No,
you know that.
I know. I do.
Not saying that you're a fool, but if you were, I wouldn't suffer it.
No,
but I'm not sure I would make a run at the board. Although if there were the numbers there, I'd have a think about it.
Well, you would.
I would.
Okay, all right. Well, leave that to me. I'm going to play some think music.
And I think an absolutely Essendon-driven revolution. In fact, all of the Essendon content creators, if we rallied our media presence, which is it's not huge, but it's still not bad. I tell you what, we could probably get a people's movement going.
Yeah.
Hey, make Essendon great again.
I like the thought of that.
Mega.
I like the thought of that. Well, I'm going to think on that some.
Oh, please do. Let me know how you go.
Yes.
And maybe you can have another dream and tell me what the outcome of the vote was.
Right.
I tell you what, there'd be a bloody clean out. That's for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
There would be a clean out. And my first platform. The planks of my platform would be, we'd sell that dump that's called the hangar.
Right.
We actually don't own it.
I was about to ask.
We lease the land, but I believe.
I do.
But I'm sure we could find someone. We could do a deal. I would get the club back to Windy Hill for a start.
Right.
And rebuild Windy Hill. Rebuild a social facility out there like it used to be, where you could go and watch the training and then have a beer up in the bar. And even the players would come up and have a few drinks after training.
Yeah. I like what I'm hearing.
Yeah. And we'd get rid of pokies. First thing I would do is get rid of pokies, because I think any involvement with the gaming industry is immoral. Well, maybe it's not that bad, depending on where you earn your coin.
Need to replace that cash flow, brother.
Yeah, well, we can work that out, because there's lots of ways to skin a cat.
Sure. Well, I like the thought.
And I could go on.
Returning to our spiritual heart.
I would go on. And
I feel like our spiritual
we will be playing our home
missing.
games at the MCG, for sure. We'll be out of that pit, that mausoleum of post-communism architecture that is Marvel Stadium.
Yep.
What an ironic name for something that's so bland, Marvel.
Yes.
Anyway.
Well, you preferred Etihad?
There would be no more Mr. Dodoro.
Yes.
I'm afraid
That
to
would
say.
be first meeting.
Yep, I'd say, Adrian, thanks for your time, thanks for your service, etc. There's the door. So there's a lot to it. There's a lot that we could do.
It sounds like you might be you might be open to it. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Well, let's
There'd
see.
be some list changes as well. Let me tell you that.
All right,
Let me tell you that.
So, in summary, the Dons are still.
We're summarising. We just got to the halfway point.
Yes. Well, I'm just thinking, how long is this thing going to take to
look,
upload?
I think people. It's a lazy
worried about.
Sunday. People want to sit back, watch the whole mega marathon, because we did cut an episode last week.
Right.
To be fair.
Okay. But I just want to, even though this may be a moot point, but I just want to sort of play out the rest of this season, given what happened last season, okay, and the way that we capitulated.
So who are we playing?
We're sitting on 10 wins. We've got the draw.
Still on 10
and
wins.
And a lousy, miserable, God-forsaken percentage of 96.8, right? Which
Let's go backwards.
And we're facing Freo,
Yeah.
and then we've got who have we got? We've got the Swans. We've got Brisbane. There's another one in between there. Who
GWS, is it?
Yeah. Is there? Yeah. Yes.
Okay,
and
so they're all in the 8.
four games.
3 of them are in the top 4.
Yeah, and I think we know at best, we'll may win one of the games.
We will not win one.
Okay, all right. Well, I was about to say they'll inspire the throngs with one victory by 2 points.
No.
Won't help our percentage. We'll end up with 11 wins, a draw, terrible percentage. See you later. Don't make the 8.
Oh,
another year.
Would
gone.
you please not make the 8, Essendon? Please spare us the humiliation, please, of scraping into the 8, only to then go over to Adelaide to play Port Adelaide in the first elimination final and get pantsed by 100 points. Please, have the sense to not do that. Please.
Right.
No, Freo, Swans, GWS, Brisbane, there is not a win in that lot. Fremantle here, they will absolutely murder us. Swans goes without saying. GWS, maybe. I think that's in Melbourne, that game.
No, sorry, it's Gold Coast.
Oh, it's a Gold Coast.
Yeah.
Oh,
sorry,
Gold
apologies, Gold Coast.
Oh, well, there's your win, if there is one, although I would...
Yeah, that's why I thought there may be a win. Maybe.
I think there's every chance Gold Coast will win one game away from home this year.
And it'll be against us.
us.
Yeah,
Brisbane in Brisbane, my God. Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah.
That
That's gonna be carnage.
That could be a horror show. That could be like the GWS game last year. So, look, basically we've gone 10 wins, right?
Yes.
We may win one more. We may.
Right.
So we finish with a win.
That was my point. So
Good point.
11 wins, a draw.
Did you make that point?
Terrible. I was trying so hard to make that point, but anyway. So
Okay.
that is not going to be enough to make the 8, and probably just as well, as we're saying.
Right. So 11 wins, 1 draw.
Yep.
And what's that, 12? So,
and woeful
and 12
percentage.
losses, I guess. Is that right? How many games do we play now?
Is it 24? 24.
No, there's 24 rounds, but you play 23.
Yeah.
So that's 12. So it's 11 wins, 1 draw, 11 losses.
There you have it.
That is about normal for us. And that sort of sums up our sort of past probably 15 seasons, is that, 11-11 type range of wins, percentage of in the high 90s. That's absolutely classic Essendon. And, for whatever reason, that seems to be acceptable.
Pass mark?
I'm not sure why anybody would bother to attend any of these games. Of course, good on you if you do. I applaud you. Your loyalty is certainly recognised. I think it's blind loyalty, but by all means, it's your choice. I'm not attending any more games. I certainly won't be renewing my membership. If this football club could come home with 3 wins out of the last 4, maybe scrape into the finals and win, I might actually renew my membership. But the chances of that, Smokin', what do you reckon? Honestly,
I would say highly unlikely.
Incredibly unlikely.
I just can't imagine turning around that performance last night and across all areas of the ground. That would just be, I just don't get it. And just what hurts more is watching someone like Sam Mitchell and what he's done with that Hawks team. Like, I think they've won, 9 out of the last 11? I mean, everyone was just worried about what a potentially humiliating year they would have at the start of the year. And now they are just so hot.
Well, Sam Mitchell had a plan, right? And we all mocked it. Everyone mocked it, even the media did. They said he cut too deep when they booted out a lot of champions of that football team, that club.
Yeah.
Premiership champions.
Yes.
You know, Sam Mitchell had the strength of character and the conviction to take on Alistair Clarkson. You remember how they were going to have a shared coaching role for a year, and that just did not happen.
Yeah.
And I don't think Sam Mitchell and Alistair Clarkson are on talking terms anymore.
Really? That's the way it goes. That's the way it goes.
But, you know, there was... And look, let's be honest, we all hate Sam Mitchell. I mean, he is in the Essendon world, he's not a person that we like. No. But you've got to certainly doff your hat to him.
You do.
And have a look at what he's done with his team. He's got the right... Now, I'm not that close to their football club, but I do know from some friends that their whole focus in recruiting over the last 3 years has been players with a high level of disposal efficiency, excellent disposers of the football, which is why they went and got Massimo D'Ambrosio from Essendon, because he had indicated and shown clearly that he had a lethal left foot. We didn't see that, and we go and hire hacks that can't kick the football.
Yeah.
So, you know, look, good luck to Hawthorn. I think Mitchell is obviously a very astute coach, and they've already gone past us. I mean, we put this up on our Twitter some weeks ago. You know, has Hawthorn gone past us already? And that was when we were sitting third on the ladder. And
I remember that.
We were starting to get a bit concerned. Then people were mocking that post, saying, you guys, you don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. They've gone past us. They have absolutely gone past us. And we'll probably finish higher on the ladder this season than what we do. So,
But doesn't that show, though, how quickly a turnaround can happen with a game plan, with structure, with execution.
With the right people running the show, with a vision of what they want to do.
Like, all this talk of build and we're a work in progress and all this stuff that we've had to listen to, you know, for so long. I mean, it's just people buying time, is it not? Ass covering, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, I think the culture at Essendon is one of football second. And, you know, as much as Barham came in and said, here we go again, I'm sorry, but Barham made it quite clear that football would be first, that the focus of the entire football club would be on the game itself, the team, the players, the coaching, the development. It's just, you know, there's got to be some evidence of that, and I don't believe that they've done anything. I mean, what have they done to make that true? We've still got the same names down there, more or less. There's some of the assistant coaches, come on, guys. Yeah, Brent Stanton. I think Brent Stanton was assistant coach at Carlton and got the flick. He's down at Essendon now. Poor kid was in the change rooms addressing the members after the game last night. I got an email. I didn't watch it.
Who was addressing the members?
Stanton.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, they do a thing for members, live from the rooms.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I wasn't going to be watching that. I think Travis Cloak's down there as a development coach. I mean, Travis Cloak? Really? Jan Siracusa has been there for a while. I think they pushed Carosella into the VFL team, and that's been an unmitigated disaster. Michael Hurley's down there. You know, these are jobs for mates. Where are the high-level... when you have a look at the coaching, guys like Lepich at Collingwood, you know, probably one of the best assistant coaches.
Yes.
There's not a senior coach yet, but will be.
Yes.
Guys like Dean Cox at Sydney. On and on it goes. And we're offering jobs to Travis Cloak. Or Michael Hurley, who was a champion of the club. I'm not disputing that, but has no coaching credentials. He's come straight in as a coach from his playing days. Yeah, maybe we've got to talk to guys like Luke Hodge, God forbid.
Yes.
But I don't think Luke Hodge is interested in coaching, but he probably would offer a lot as a coach. Certainly would offer more than Travis Cloak. So, I mean, you could go on and on about it, but they've done nothing to actually demonstrate this commitment to changing the culture. It's a club that accepts mediocrity. It's a club that has its focus in all the wrong places. And, maybe it is still a legacy of the supplement saga. Perhaps that still lurks in the corners of the football club. The fact that we don't challenge the AFL when our players get suspended for the most technical of decisions, every other club does. But Brad Scott always wheels out the comment, it's no point. We know that this isn't going to get passed. It does get passed. Charlie Cameron got off because he was a good guy.
Of good character.
Zach Merritt apparently isn't.
No, terrible character.
Harry Jones or any of the players, Mason Redmond. Our guys are obviously not good guys because
it does my head in. And they go on the website saying we've consulted with our legal team and a biomechanics guy and, no, it's just not worth proceeding with this.
Unbelievable.
And then the others are getting off.
Yeah.
What biomechanics guy have they got?
So, again, it's this lack of ruthlessness. It's almost like we kowtow to the AFL where we won't rock the boat. We promise we were naughty. We were naughty when James Hird was the coach and we did bad things and we're very sorry and we promised never to rock the boat again. I tell you what, we've got to go and stand up we had I think it was after the Melbourne game, time for Essendon to put on their big boy pants.
That's right.
Never has there been a truer statement about this football club. And that starts with the next few weeks. Players that are not going to be a part of the future should not play again. Should not play again. Dyson Heppel had his farewell game last night. Goldstein will not play again. Jake Stringer should not play again. That's it. What's the point? We've got 4 games to go. Bring in Archie Roberts. Let Lewis Hayes have a go. Maybe bring Sartis and Hobbs back. Bring the Davey boys in. Let both the Davey boys play together in a game. Give the fans something to cheer about. But to keep wheeling out Stringer and Heppel and Goldstein, Peter Wright is not the answer. We've got him for the next 3 years, but we should be doing everything in our power to get rid of him. Get a couple of second round draft picks, maybe a third round draft pick for him, whatever. And let's get aggressive in the trade market. Let's trade, get rid of Archie Perkins. He's not going to make it. Trade him. You might get a second round draft pick. You might. Let's go really hard at an Aaron Cadman from GWS. He's a fantastic young key forward. To build a partnership with Nate Caddy going forward. Let's go really hard at Harley Reid. And so, you've got Merritt, who's going to be 28 next year, getting towards veteran status, but at least Harley Reid could come in with Durham and Caldwell and maybe Hobbs and Sartis and have the foundations of a fantastic midfield. Draper is not the future. Draper is not the future.
Oh, finally. I get some support.
And you were right.
On that front.
You were right.
Finally.
So what do we do? Where's the ruthlessness? What would Sam Mitchell do? I mean, I've got to be honest with you. If we persist with Sam Draper as our number one ruckman, again, they're having a laugh. They're having a laugh.
You're having a laugh.
They're having a laugh because he is not the answer. The guy is not a quality ruckman. Now, you're going to have some nuffies out there saying, oh, yeah, but, his hit-outs to advantage percentage is the second or third highest in the competition. Look at the scoreboard. I saw some stats on Rowan Marshall from the game last night.
Oh my God!
Rowan Marshall had stats like Chris Judd. Just about said Beck Judd. Then
he did 26 disposals.
Yeah, unbelievable. But what does Draper get? Might get 6 or 7 disposals a game, of which most of them go to the opposition or hit the post. So look, I'm absolutely furious with the football club. If you haven't already told.
I'm picking up on that.
Yeah,
I am.
It's just not good enough. And I mean, we are going straight down. Where are they going to go in the off season this year? Right, they went to Arizona for high altitude training because this will not happen again. Remember?
No, that's right.
What's the off season destination this year?
Machu Picchu.
For a little high altitude?
Higher. Maybe they need to go higher in their altitude. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't high enough.
And the last thing, no one ever mentioned it, but that high altitude training that those guys went to, here's the thing. 15 of them went. Not all of them. 15 of them went. And they had to pay their own airfares. All right. If you want to get fit for the football season, you pay.
Yeah, no, maybe that's a sign of intent. Intent.
How about the club show some intent and say all 40 of you are going to high altitude training. We're paying. You get fit. you're never going to have another season like this one. What's with, look, if you're up for it, yeah, you got to pay. We're not paying. No. That's fine. If you want to go, we're not going to interfere. How about the football club gets serious about this and say, you know what, we've got buckets of money sitting in the bank. Use some of that pokies money to go and get the best high-performance staff in the world. Go to the New England Patriots, go to the Dallas Cowboys, get their high performance. If they cost $1 million, you go and get them. Do something, Essendon. Right. Do something.
You know what I'm a little bit embarrassed about?
Yeah, what's that?
With the edge.
What's the edge?
The edge is gone.
What edge?
The edge.
What are you talking about?
It doesn't exist anymore.
Well, I've never heard of the edge.
It's gone. I'm just embarrassed about all of that. All of that. And what hurts most is that as I think leading up to that Gold Coast game, the first time we played them this year, when we were having a bit of a run, and I think we were sitting second or third on the ladder, and opposition supporters were saying, "Well, who have you beaten? You guys are just ridiculous. You're a joke. Who have you beaten?" And we had to defend them. We had to defend them, saying, "Well, you can only play who's in front of you." Boy.
Yeah. Well, the edge. I mean, unless the edge is like Gandalf the Grey, and we'll come back as Gandalf the White.
Okay.
I don't know. The edge is about as sharp as a baby's bum.
Look, I think we're losing the satellite. This is going to take 4 days to upload this episode at this rate. I mean, I don't want to,
So are we back next week?
Cut your shot.
Are we back? I mean,
I'm
really?
not sure.
Is there any point? Do you want us to come back?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Do you want more of this? Because that's what it's probably going to be. But we probably will.
I think we just upload this episode every week.
Yeah, well,
until we win a game.
I was going to say we could upload sort of this episode this time last year.
Yeah.
Yes, I think for today we could keep going, but we won't. We shan't.
All right, well, that's up to you. I don't particularly
I know you've got more.
I've said enough. I'm just repeating myself now, and that's the sad thing. And that's honestly why we didn't want to do the show last week after the Adelaide game. And then I said to Smoking, I said, look, I'm just going to sound like a broken record. And I think you guys, to be fair, are probably sick and tired of it, just like we are.
Yeah. It's hard to come up with fresh stuff, fresh material.
Yeah, I mean, what you're hearing today is honestly, this is off script. We've talked about is it actually worth doing this? Because okay, here's the irony: is that our numbers actually are best when we lose. Because people are frustrated, they want to share that frustration. Yeah. When you win, you get on with your weekend. You don't care about what those two idiots at Absolutely Essendon are talking about.
Yeah, nor should you.
Yeah, but the reality is we want to talk about the wins. We want to talk about the future and get excited about it and feel proud of the football club and look forward to next week and know that we're going to be competitive.
Enjoy the progress.
Yeah.
That was really why we started this. Yeah. We wanted to sort of enjoy that progress, create a channel, by the fans, for the fans, and it was great to meet, my Uber driver during the week. Shout out to Ishmael.
He's left by now, mate. He came in to see whether you would mention his name in the first 50 minutes. Oh, right, okay. I think he's given up on it, just like the football club.
It was great. A great supporter of this channel, but boy, you talk about frustration with this team. He long suffering as well. Has a son that he's introduced to this club who just says, "Dad, why the Dons? Why did you pass on? Why did you burden me with this club?" He, by the way, apparently 196 centimetres and was playing with the Bendigo Bombers there for a while. Potential draft pick. Lloydie was talking to him.
My name is Ismail.
What is that?
That's the first line of Moby Dick.
Right, okay. All right, anyway, shout out to you. Thank you, and everybody for that continues to watch.
I hope you overcharged him too, by the way.
I know.
Did you leave a tip?
I gave him 5 stars.
Did you leave a tip?
I may have left a tip. All right.
What, you can't remember?
He might comment and just say, "No tip." Anyway, all right. Shall we? Let's wrap this.
Let's take a vote. Do you want us to keep going or not?
Oh, really? You're putting it out. It might be not. I told you the number of likes we got when we said we weren't going to record an episode.
We're finished.
Yeah, you think it's over? Yeah. This is it.
No, we actually finished.
Yes. Oh, we have.
Yeah, I'm going to cut it at that point.
You're going to cut? No. Dave Barham, if you're watching.